The greatest villain in the Dragon Ball universe actually did us a favor by being evil. Each time Goku saved the Earth only happened because Frieza existed. No Frieza means Goku landing on Earth. And without Goku, Earth's fate would have been very different. Each fight, each victory, and each evolution in the Dragon Ball traces back to Frieza. What if he was never born? Without Frieza, the galaxy might be quieter but never safer. Frieza isn't just another villain of the Dragon Ball world. He controlled empires through fear, turned the Saiyans into his personal army, and silenced the entire civilization with fear. Without him, the Saiyans would still be alive, and that's not good news for the universe, because the Saiyans weren't heroes, they were rather destroyers. They were known for invading planets and selling them to the highest bidder. Their ruthlessness was feared by the weak ones. Without Frieza to keep them in check, they would become too dangerous. Planet Vageta could have turned into the capital of a ruthless empire without his rule. No, Frieza means Planet Vageta wouldn't be destroyed because Frieza would have never felt the need to wipe the planet out. Which means Goku, Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa wouldn't be survivors. They'd just be another soldier in a brutal system fighting, conquering, and destroying. No enemy great enough to humble them. No challenge big enough to stop them. And it doesn't stop there. Without Frieza, Bardock would have had no reason to suspect danger. No reason to launch his son away in space, which means no space pod carrying a baby Goku would have landed on Earth. No Grandpa Gohan. No transformation from warrior to hero. But that doesn't mean Goku had not existed. He would still have been born. But into Goku we know. In the alternate scenario, without Frieza being born, Goku wouldn't be living on Earth. He would be on Planet Vegeta among warriors who cared only about power, no empathy. There would be no Grandpa Gohan, no peaceful mountain life for Goku, and no head injury to soften his instincts. Even his name wouldn't be Goku. It would stay Kakarot, and he'd be living as an elite soldier in a merciless army. Instead of protecting Earth, he might have invaded it. Instead of making friends with Bulma Krillin and Chi-Chi, he might have wiped them out without any hesitation. Even if Bardock somehow did send Goku away without Frieza's threat, as the reason the timing would be different, Goku might land on Earth later in life, already trained to kill Earth would just be another mission for him. People here wouldn't matter to him. Without Goku crash landing on Earth as a baby, no one could have stopped the Red Ribbon Army. No one could challenge Piccolo. No one could hold Vegeta back. Earth would have become a playground for invaders and tyrants. The savior of the world would have never gotten the chance to become that. And maybe worst of all, Goku would never become a Super Saiyan without Frieza, because that power didn't come from training. It came from pain. From watching his best friend die, from the rage Frieza caused. However, Goku would still be powerful, but if he never became the hero, then who does he become? And in a world without him, who would have become the main character? It's Frieza who made Goku the hero. If he wasn't there, Planet Vegeta and Saiyans would have existed. They would have been thriving under the rule of their Prince Vegeta. But without the trauma of losing his home, Vegeta grows up differently. He'd still be proud, still elite. Still obsessed with being the best of warriors, but without Frieza to crush his pride, he'd not be angry. He'd not be desperate. Instead of being shaped by defeat, he'd grow up to be a leader, not a follower. And in a world where Goku never arrives on Earth, the story wouldn't revolve around him. It would follow Vegeta's path, making him the main character. As the Saiyans expand their empire, Vegeta would lead the charge, scouting new planets, invading them all for his people. He might be the one who finds Earth not as an enemy out for revenge, but as a conqueror looking to expand. Without Frieza, there's no one to push him to his limits. No moment of defeat that forces him to evolve into something he's not. No reason to question his pride. Without that struggle, Vegeta wouldn't have changed. He would be a strong and confident warrior. Yes, Vegeta could have taken Goku's place at the center of the story, but it had been a very different story. A colder one in a world where power would rule, and emotion meant nothing. And that brings us to the real question. If Frieza never existed, what would happen to all the stories he stepped into? Everything would be different, even the major sagas of Dragon Ball. The famous Saiyan saga wouldn't have happened at all. Raditz would have no reason to visit Earth, because Goku would never have been sent there. The Z fighters wouldn't train together, and Piccolo would never become Gohan's mentor. That sounds so impossible. Next, the Namek saga disappears. Without Frieza, no one would go to Namek chasing the Dragon Balls. Vegeta doesn't turn against anyone if he hadn't been controlled and humiliated in the first place. And there's no Super Saiyan transformation for Goku. The most iconic battle in anime history would just not exist. The Android saga might still happen, but it would turn out differently. Without Goku as a target, the androids may go after other Saiyans. Maybe Cell still shows up, but his goals would be completely different. And without Goku or Gohan's emotional connection, that final father-son Kamehameha can never be the same. Not in the story, and definitely not in the heart. The Majin Buu saga could still unfold, but without Goku mastering Super Saiyan 3. No Vegeta who's grown enough to sacrifice himself. Buu does appear, but there might be no one strong enough to stop him. Earth could fall. Or maybe someone like Piccolo or Gohan may step up, but too late. Then comes the biggest twist. Dragon Ball Super would never happen. Beerus wakes up looking for the Super Saiyan God, but doesn't find Goku. Maybe he wipes out Earth in frustration, or maybe he never finds anyone worthy of challenging him. There's no tournament of power, no Ultra Instinct, no Broly. It all fades away, like a story that was never told. Every major saga in Dragon Ball was either caused by Frieza or happened because of the damage he left behind. He wasn't just a villain, he was the spark of the series. Without him, the characters still exist. The planets are still there, but no reason to chase them. The Dragon Ball wouldn't leave the legacy we all know. Frieza may have been the villain, but he also gave Dragon Ball its purpose. Without him, Goku never discovers what it means to lose. He never feels the pain that pushes him beyond his limits. He never unlocks the rage that turns him into something more. The iconic moment where Goku becomes a Super Saiyan would not exist. His golden hair, the scream, the heartbreak, all that never happens. And without it, an entire generation loses the scene that defined their childhood. Frieza forced the heroes to grow. He was the evil that pushed good to evolve. He was the first to truly terrify us, not just with strength, but with cruelty. He didn't fight to test himself. He fought because he believed he was entitled to the universe, and that belief that someone so cold could still exist at the top gave the Dragon Ball world a real reason to fight. Without Frieza, the battles would still happen. The characters might still train, but the soul of the story never fully forms. Goku might still get strong. Vegeta might still search for a purpose, but they do it in a world that never demanded greatness from them, just surviving as ordinary being. Frieza was their test. And without that test, no one passes. So without Frieza being born, the universe would have been quieter, but the Dragon Ball would never be this thrilling. What do you think about the Dragon Ball story without its greatest villain? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more videos.